All right, welcome back to another episode of hashtag Randomly with Ronnie Jr. I guess right now for this episode we could say it like we mean it. In the words of Wendy Williams. So Wendy Williams has been somewhat a talk amongst so many of her fans. Like, where has Wendy Williams been? So now Lifetime is going to be doing a documentary, a two-part documentary. Which she already had the relationship with Lifetime. She had been doing lots of work with Lifetime in the past, so this is basically a fitting, place for this to be aired. But a two-part documentary series. Where is Wendy Williams? Radio and radio personalities. I always have such a soft spot in my heart for that and for them because it's an industry that it's all relative to your level of success, like where you've gone and who you've became with the work, but the career and the industry is still the same. So it's so exciting to see people do so well as she's done, but it's also equally as difficult to see, her being left with where she is at the moment. I think the documentary will be interesting. I think you can't do a two-part series like this without really giving some type of information. It can't be fluffy. Specifically because, not just in radio, but also on the pink chair, she used to always, say it like she means it. You say it like you mean it. So I think it will be really good. And again, I'll be watching as so many fans will be watching. And just, the connection for me will always be radio personalities, the ups and downs. And what makes this particular documentary interesting is a lot of it is addressing certain issues like, her finances, her health is really on the forefront, and then the connection with family. So these three different elements kind of coming together. But it could hopefully be a starting point to so many other great things that start to go on in her life. I always say that careers and even things that you're working on for that matter, it's momentum. So, sometimes you go through a thing and then, come out on the other side and you utilize that momentum for whatever is the next step. I imagine the thing with Wendy Williams is challenging, the stuff within her own personal, marriage and how that spilled out, so publicly, and then picking up those pieces, which is one element, but then who is surrounded by her during that time and whose intentions are the right intentions are all things to think about. And I guess we're going to hear and learn more in the two-part documentary on Lifetime, Where is Wendy Williams? Her interview style has always been so fantastic. So it'll be an interesting watch to see. Sometimes when you're an interviewer, you know exactly what questions and where you want to steer the conversation. So to be on the flip side of it, I still feel like she's going to be giving us a compelling documentary. Her skill set as a radio talent, much like so many others, it is a skill set that I do cherish because it's not a simple thing. It looks natural. That's the whole point, to make it look natural, to make it seem conversational, to make it seem like I'm here, but the whole time I've been kind of like ramping up this question and then here we go. I think that sometimes the compelling radio personalities or whatever talents that you want to speak about, digital podcasters, whatever, a lot of times like a Wendy Williams type, it looks as if shock value was the only thing. And sure, she gave her level of shock value, but I think she was a little bit more than that. One could say that about like Howard Stern too. In his era, he was all shock value. But when you break it down all these years later, specifically post him doing America's Got Talent, you could say he's changed or he's got a soft spot, and he's kind of evolved into something he wasn't before. But at the core of it, he's still a wonderful communicator and interviewer. Wendy Williams, what's interesting about all of her interviews back in the day is like there's so many of them. She's a person you could go, browse through YouTube and see all these, notable interviews from back in the day. Wendy. So it should be interesting. I think a lot of people, either one of a couple things. They want her to come back, and then a lot of people just want her to be, healthy and able to come back. I think I'm in that space. I'm like, yeah, it'd be great for her to be back, but, not at the cost of, she has to get healthy. That needs to be the number one thing. So yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot from it. Definitely different than what we've seen on the previous Lifetime. I think it was a 2 day or 2 weekend movie event where she had the scripted and then she had more the documentary style of what was going on in her life at that time. But yeah, it's been an interesting fall from grace, but you know, everybody loves a redemption arc. And hopefully for Wendy Williams, it is that time. Hopefully this is her moment to kind of get clear with what she needs to get clear, both in health, financial, and also the people she surrounds herself with. And then, and only then, you know, is it time for her to entertain the idea of the pink chair. Although, would Sherry Shepherd be like, oh no, no one's going to watch my show now because Wendy's back? But Sherry, no one was watching your show anyway. I'm kidding. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Just having fun with it. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see this. I'm excited for the storytelling. Now, if it was just a bunch of mess and the network, you know, Lifetime utilizing, sure, they filmed a couple of things and then they like just mixed something up, I'd be like, eh. But the trailer does look good. It looks like that we're going to be getting something of substance with where is Wendy Williams? And that is the question. Where is Wendy Williams? And even the bigger question is, what is Wendy Williams going to do next? All right, if you enjoyed any of this, make sure, of course, comment, like, subscribe. You know about that, but do you know about Patreon.com? Oh, you don't? Hold on.
Well, hello there. Thank you for watching and supporting the show with my good friend, RandomlyRJ Jr. Who the hell am I? Great question. My name is Mark Rodriguez with Mastermind Media, and I wanted to take just a moment of your time to let you know about all the other incredible things this guy, RandomlyRJ Jr. has going on. But first, before we get into that, please comment, like, and subscribe. That is how he grows here on these channels. But one channel you probably don't know about is patreon.com/RandomlyRJ Jr., where he's got a bunch more exclusive content. So please check that out. But speaking of YouTube, let's go back to YouTube for a second. He's got this hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. and it shows all of his stuff in his days in radio from back in the day, all the way up to present day, and his new interviews, podcasts, just videos across the board. So please check that out, because when you think about content creators, there's millions of content creators, but there's only one, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Let's get back into the show.
Thank you, Mark. All right, that's it for now. Hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. if you want to see more content as well.